Hello, we are playing a Legacy second edition with the Gauntlet. So this is a game organized on the Gauntlet community. You can find them online or on the links on this video if you stumbled on it. So we are playing Legacy, a game about rebuilding and establishing a new world after the apocalypse. And today we are joined by our three players as we start the second age after the fall. And we're going to go around introducing our characters and families for this age. So I'm Ludo, I go by any pronouns. I would like to remember that we were going to be using the typical safety tools. So we are confirming by the Gauntlet inclusivity policy. We're going to be using the X card, script change, and we also have lines and veils that anyone can add anything that they see fit so that we can keep it off the game. Okay, so why don't we start in order of our characters on the character sheet? So as we see the sprawling wasteland and the strange permanent aurora borealis in the sky and the ruins that have been grounded like sand and the occasional storm at the distance, we see the ragtag moving city of tents and military apparatus, which defines the two moving families. And some characters stand out among the faces of these. So, Pavel, why don't you introduce to us? Oh, wait, no, actually, it's Neriko first. So, Neriko, why don't you introduce to us Vasily? So, Vasilis, why don't you introduce to us Neriko and the Sandstorm?
Yes, so Neriko, you see a figure dressed in a robe, and the robe has some networks of wiring on it as well. And you can discern as a pale face, and he has bright eyes, and he's moving in an awkward way. So Neriko is a seeker. He's part of the Sandstorm, which is the enclave of the bygone lore. We are trying to collect. It's a faction that tries to collect remnants of knowledge before the fall, but also understand the powers of nature and science that are working in the world after the fall. Neriko is an agent. He's carrying on his back a weird apparatus that he says interferes with electromagnetic energies and can propel them as a weapon. He knows a bit about the land around the settlement, and I can talk also about the purpose of the expedition, but we can let that unfold later. So, but that's it for Neriko.
Yeah, and then Will, why don't you introduce us the most shining member of the expedition?
So I'm Will, and I am playing CAS-01, Cass to his friends, or the Machine to most people. And Cass is the Machine. He is a relic of a bygone age that was reactivated in the massive upheaval of the previous age, and as it was bringing itself into this new environment, it encountered Pavel's character, and lacking outside direction, it's now working for the Sledgehammers, which seem to be the authority of this new age as far as Cass has worked out. And it is an agent. And at the moment, it still has a lot to learn about life in the wasteland. And but as a part of the technology that is a great threat to everybody, it's obviously got a lot to offer in terms of interacting with it. And maybe he's trying to work out some way for everybody to survive in the future.
And lastly, we have Pavel introducing us to Scanner and the Sledgehammers.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I go by him pronoun. I play the Sledgehammers, who are the Tyrant Kings. They are the family who was prepared for the end of the world, and they are the military sort of faction who likes to think of themselves as the leaders of the community over here, ruling by the hammered fist, by the fist. And in the change of the age, they had some troubles. They stopped a giant beast invading the homeland and suffered greatly through it. But also, people recognize them slightly more as the protectors. So they are slightly bit. So they get it. So they are slightly better at diplomacy with the others. But they were in tough situations. They had to raid and pillage at the expense of the others. So they got plenty of materials out of it, but others don't like them so much. And my character I will be portraying today is Scanner, who goes by him pronoun. He's a man wearing a gas mask. We see that he's very used to living in the wasteland. He wears his camo suit, which is very much different because almost all other members of his family are wearing some regal suit, but he's used to living out here. He has a scarred body because he survived a lot over here, and he's a scavenger by playbook. He's out here because he had a vision from all of his accumulated wealth that he should go back and took some more active role in his family. Then he was sent here on this expedition. He's good at finding stuff and navigating through difficult environments. But he's also a very unusual member of the Sledgehammers because he rather talks first than shoot first, which is kind of unusual attitude among the Sledgehammers. So we will see how the Scanner will do today.
So we kept over the camp, and so Pavel, why did you have to destroy the last settlement that you encountered?
They were just brutal savages to whom we were unable to communicate with. They wanted to eat us or sacrifice us to their dark gods. It was very hard to understand it, but we decided that it's best to clear the wasteland of them and just pushing forward.
And what did the Sandstorm learn among the chaos?
I think the let's see. I think we understood that so the Sandstorm has a lot to do with that we developed medicine technology, and we found that we can make some of our medicine better by feeding cadavers to them. So it's kind of a morbid revelation to us. So we realized we can feed the bodies of the deceased to make research on them and make our medicine better. So we took advantage of the carnage to make a better medicine.
So that was months ago, and you've been on a road without anything significant. There's something odd about the storms on the horizon, and brings murmur among the sandstorm, because they look a bit too much like the storms created by the creature that they learned from the ages, from the legends about the first age, the storm crawler. But on the other hand, there's finally something that breaks the monotony of the wasteland. At the distance, there seems to be some long highway, still on relatively fine condition. It's the most promising finding that you have had in the last weeks.
So yeah, I think the storm crawler, or at least one of the storm crawlers, attacked us a while back, and the sandstorm has been pushed back. Some other factions in the settlement accused us of bringing this havoc and these creatures into our settlement, and we've been persecuted and moved to the outskirts of the city. Now that our scouts have found this highway, the governing body of the sandstorm wants to organize this expedition so that we vanquish the storm crawlers once and for all, or at least exploit their technology. And also this will provide us with a way to vindicate ourselves, and so that we are accepted back into the community. And to that purpose, we also, because the Sledgehammers have literally stolen some resources from us because of the raiding, we try to talk to them and convince us to give us help. And that's how perhaps the group is formed, as we try to make the expedition.
Indeed, but so far, as you know at least, you have the alternative of trying to find out what is happening on the lands ravaged by storms, or try to approach the highway, or look for something else. And there's a lot of talk between the two families about which path to take. It falls up to the leaders of the community and of the joint operation to decide.
Well, so far we have been traveling through this dusty dunes. Nothing really is here. I think the best course of action will be to jump on the highway, which will allow us to travel faster and further than another expedition has. That's the opportunity to find some things that nobody else found, unless the Cass and an insight to this. Do you have?
So I think, in the last few months, the sandstorm has been pushed back to the outskirts of the settlement, and that's why we have a deep knowledge of the fragmented lands and their hidden depths, which is around the highway and around the settlement. And we've noticed that the storms can be dangerous in open ground, so we could be hit by one of these surges of lightning. And I think, I'm not sure, I have to look back into this move, but we found that there's, surrounding the highway, there's a hilly terrain that can maybe protect us more. from the pulses, or so we think. So our leaders think. This, I don't know if deep knowledge is a move that requires some kind of resolution, but I think we have some knowledge of the surrounding area that can perhaps provide us a safer pathway across the same area as the highway. So basically go to the same direction as the highway, but not from the highway itself.
Yeah, I can tell you that whatever that then you can figure out that there has to be some maintenance protocols going on to preserve the highways, the conditions they are, and if you can take control of the highways, you can get one tech from that.
Could CAS consult its databases to? Could we say that the highway is a landmark from the past?
It is definitely a landmark from the past.
So, would it be okay for me to roll Unearth Forgotten Law and see what information I might get from that?
The thing is, it's a character move, so it will only work when you are zombie.
Oh,
You can uncover, but in this case, you can assist on an uncover secrets. So I'll say that you can uncover secrets on the highway with advantage because of your move.
Cool.
So you roll plus data.
Okay.
Using the sledgehammer stats and with advantage. So you roll 3 and keep the 2 best.
I think we need to spend data to do it. So the sledgehammers go to 0 data.
Right.
Do you? Yeah, per data stand. That's true.
Cool. So an advantage in this game means
Roll 3.
3. Okay. So that's a 4 and a 2, and then a 3. So a 4 and a 3, 7, 8, basically.
Okay, so you can ask one of these 4 questions.
I guess how well, I don't know what the best of the questions is here. What's the truth behind the technology of the highway? Would that
Yeah, that would be correct. So the truth about the technology about the highway is that it's not, you remember it not being military technology, it was civilian technology. So you figure out that the highway itself is an entity so much like yourself, stewardship and custodian AI that probably is the true master of the region. And if there are people or creatures living there, they are just living there and being taken care by it, but they are not ultimately its master. And that if you are able to get that eye to you, you might get some advantage for the sledgehammers.
And would I know where this system might be hosted?
No, not from here, because you know that there is a lot of different places that could be.
Yeah.
And they were operating when the network was functioning, but you probably figured out that most of them are damaged, so the AI might have contained itself to a few central mainframes to which to control the systems. So basically, anywhere alongside the highway, there are multiple possible points, but you cannot say with clarity which one will be each.
Great. Okay. So we must find the node, the functioning nodes of the highway, to discover the technology. Any denizens of the road will be immaterial, secondary to the road's function. Recommend proceed.
Very well. I will signal the war machines and the enforcers to begin the advance, and I will take over at least what we can see, and then we will figure out if we can find the control.
So, is anything that any family wants to do before approaching highway?
I think perhaps the Sandstorm can lend aid. Knowing the terrain around the highway, you can lend aid to the generals or the commanders of the sledgehammer vehicles. So if I could do lend aid, perhaps they will have an advantage in their next move. So I rolled plus treaty with them, which I have a lot of. I have +4 actually. Is there a cap on the treaty? I'm not sure.
I don't think there is a cap on treaty.
Okay. Okay, so I will. I roll to lend aid to the sledgehammers for traversing the landscape around. And I have a 10. So on a 10...
You don't get explosive.
Yeah, I just give them advantage on the next action. Yeah.
Okay. So, working together, the sledgehammers and the Sandstorm advance. And as you get closer and closer, it really stands out how fortified and extensive the highway is. And you can see watchtowers built alongside it, and a lot of vehicles moving on the highway. And as you come close, you can see an old billboard, Highway 88, 6 miles. And you can hear in the night the roaring of war rigs as they are approaching you. What do you do?
Primitive vehicles approaching.
Yeah, it's like the family moves are very constrained. Like there's no defend move.
Well, it's a claim by force. If you
that's what we do. We secure the foothold on the highway.
So you move to intercept your attackers in the night, and it seems to be some light skirmishing from both sides. So roll plus grasp with advantage.
Okay. So I need one extra die in a color blue. And then reroll this too. Yeah, it's 13. So I choose 2. I get again more treaties. Yeah, I think it's a costly victory, and we need to commit to securing the highway because it's a hard place to keep it tight and secured. So tie one of my surpluses to the resource. If you lose the resource, you lose the surplus, and vice versa. What do we have? I think we need to tie transport to this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so that after the assault, after the fight, it probably took some time. We have our own warwicks patrolling the area, making sure that that nothing surprises us.
Yeah, and I would say that you need defenses, because until you get proper defenses, that you are kind of locked this position. You cannot really abandon it. Uh, so you skirmish through the night, and you don't get a very good look on your enemy, but they seem to be way too much like the sledgehammers. They are organized, they have numbers, they also have brutal war rigs, and there are not many casualties on both sides, because it's a light skirmish during the night, and it's a hard victory on the type of on the part of the sledgehammers, because the people seem to know very well the highway. But when the dawn comes, not only have the sledgehammers managed to repel them, they managed to make all the way to one of the entry nodes to the highway, and they found when empty steel watchtower that has been clearly abandoned by the retreating forces, and it's a possible way to use as a base.
So then the highway counts as some kind of resource.
The highway is too big. It contains multiple resources. One thing that you figure out is that these watchtowers, they are built on top of the highways, and if you capture enough of them, you can get the defense network that you need. And that if you get enough bases like this, you can patrol the highway with a few war rigs, and then you can actually get that defense surplus. And it's a node, so it might be one of the ones where the AI might be or not.
So it might be worth exploring. And I'm sorry, you describe it's like an entrance to some underground, or
What do you mean?
what have you found? What is this node? Is it like a bunker? Or is it just some entrance underground?
They are like bunkers. It's like they are built in the base of the highway, places in which there are a lot of drones and maintenance systems, and they have the computing power, each of them, if they are well preserved, to house a custodian AI. So each of them has the potential if they are still intact.
Hmm. So, Cass and Erica, do you think like do we wanna explore this bunker, which is not far from where we camp? This might be where some juicy stuff is.
Sounds worthwhile. Perhaps the machine can interface with the AI of the node, and we see if we get some information or we can control it.
Affirmative.
I like how this machine is eager to proceed.
I like it to think of it of like a modern machine, but yes, Nariko, you are free to think of it as you like.
Is this how we zoom in? Like we just decide the moments? So.
Yes, and the question for this zoom in to keep in focus is we want to know what is on the node. That is what we want from this zoom in.
Yeah.
So everyone gear up. You can spend tags freely. So we see your 3 characters and the rangers that you take with you. Well, no, it's not actually rangers on the sledgehammers. It's enforcers, right?
Yes.
So you take your enforcers with you, and the first problem is the door of the node. It's clearly sealed shut from the inside, and there seems to be no obvious way to open it.
Yeah, I still need to tool up. There are a lot of things to select over here. Hmm. Will be camo.
So it's some kind of massive 3 meters double-sided door, no lock, no key. If there is any type of security panel, it's long gone, and you can see that there is no gaps. It's completely hermetically sealed off.
What are my possible options? Yeah, I think we see scanner just outside of it. First thing, I have a move called Tech Attunement. When you focus your senses, the GM will tell you how much tech and in which how much tech there is within few hundred meters and roughly where to look. So I think that's the first thing we see when we zoom in on scanner. He's looking at this gate and thinking, is it even worth opening it? Do I feel like there is something behind it?
Yeah, you can sense that there is 2 devices worth of tech inside. Just from, because you figured out, well, there has to be something that is clearly in good condition enough to keep the door locked, and it's whatever choose to remain behind this.
Yeah. We see Skylar just like walking around the encampment, taking stock of what they have. And then he looks at the bunker, and then he sort of like takes his like notebook where he has some sketches of other facilities like this he has visited. And I want to trigger my other move, Architectural Eye. When you take some time to plan out the exploration of a new ruin, roll plus steel. Does it count over here?
Yeah, definitely counts. It's clearly an architectural challenge.
Okay, so I have a 10 on this one. So it means I hold 3. Yeah, so I suppose if I can still take the lead and not hug the spotlight, I think we see Scanner just like command someone to like, come on guys, like put one of the Warwicks over here. Yeah, take those cables, attach it to the door. Yeah, like there is no way we can like open this door. Let's pull them open with the Warwick.
Okay, so but to understand, you are then using the vehicle.
Yeah, you like there's like I have no strength to open this door. I'm going to force them open.
Could maybe Cass go to the door and try to interface with it?
That's the thing. There is no obvious interface mechanism there.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no any type of computing panel. It's
Right.
steel and concrete. Okay, so so it's a case of forge the path. The question is, I'm trying to figure out what the Warrigs do with it. Oh, there is it. Did you spend a mighty tag on the Warrig? Because Because if you get it mighty, then you get advantage on the force a pet roll.
I don't think. Yeah. Then you have to give me time to finish my tooling up because I have so much surplus. It takes a moment. But definitely, I will not have mighty on the warriors because he didn't focus on bringing the massive vehicle with him on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows the warrior will probably stand outside and will not be that much useful. So I'm definitely spending weaponry to. I'm definitely increasing quality of the enforcers. Yeah, my camo. Oh my god, there's so much tax over here.
Okay, so you can force your pet, and you can get +1 from the warrior instead.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to spend my hold from Architectural Eye
To roll with steel.
which
Yeah.
allows me to roll with steel when I'm forging a path instead of force. Because why not? Let's not open this with horrible bad roll. It's a 6 on dice +2 +1. It's a 9.
Okay, so forge a pet. Pick 2.
Hmm. I think it makes sense to pick. You are exposed to danger as I travel, and it takes longer than expected. Meaning, yeah, these are the only options that make sense in this. That if anyone's hiding inside, they will know we are entering, and those were really massive. They took like a few moments to pry open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's less a few moments, and it's more hours. As the warriors start the pulling, and you put the rogues, and you try to widen the gap, it takes hours, as it seems that the door insists in staying themselves closer, and the more forces you put, the more forces the doors respond with. And during this time, you can see the dust rising on the horizon as a war caravan of your enemies of the last night is approaching. What do you do?
Well, I think Neriko is getting his energy projector ready to interfere either with the approaching war rigs of the enemy or with any other machine-related danger inside. But I think he's ready to use his projector on the approaching war rigs and see if he can immobilize them or stall them or hurt them. So actually, yeah.
Fiercely assault them with low.
Yeah. So +2. Oh my god. Okay, I got a 3. I got a 3, so 5.
Okay, first of all, choose the effect from using this weapon.
Yeah. I think it's. Let's see. Choose one. I think it will go haywire. There's something that I didn't tune well enough from the last use, which was recently with the opening the way between us and the wall of drones in the settlement. So I think it will affect a wider area, perhaps even some sledgehammer equipment.
Yeah.
But it also failed, so I'm not sure. I guess it will go haywire and also not have the effect I intended.
Yeah, so you aim the weapon, but you aim it poorly, and you hit not the warriors approaching, but the road in front of it, and the warriors stop and turn, and there is this wave of barrage fire from the people inside, and you can hear a roar, and something jumps out over the war rigs, and you see this motorcycle, and on top of the motorcycle there is this man wearing a broad-sided cap and sunglasses and carrying a sniper gun, and in the middle of riding the motorcycle, it hits right on one of your key valves, and you get struck in the face with the aberrant energies. So you take 2 damage.
All right. So what is it?
And the figure on the motorcycle then goes back to behind its companions. The good thing is there is now a big hole where there was highway, so they cannot easily get to you. So you get time, and after this brief encounter, you can hear a click as there is enough of a gap for you to enter inside the node. What will you do?
Yeah, guys, come on. Let's go in and yeah, before they return. You guys, take the warrior back to the encampment, and I don't know. Wait for the flower. We will fire the flower when we will need the warrior to drive to come back for us.
Okay. Neriko is a bit flustered with his failed attempt and probably almost embarrassed because the sledgehammer scavengers have been working efficiently at the vault, and he failed using his fancy apparatus. But he also looks at the machine and says, "Are you okay?" Because he's worried that the pulse went to the machine as well, and he hurries over to the vault.
That weapon is suboptimal.
Okay, so you are inside of the ruins. It's dark inside, except the blinking of displays and lights. So you feel safe and cold, which is not unwelcomed. And you can feel the light sense of ozone as you smell some electric discharges alongside the system as you go deeper. So, do you want to spend hold? Do you want to do something?
I'm sorry. I'm still looking at the gear. There's so much stuff over here. We entered and what?
Basically, there's only blinking lights, the smell of ozone, and a lot of electronics.
Could I analyze the electronics?
By interacting with them? Yes.
Yeah.
Roll plus lore.
Cool.
I would also aid if that would give the machine an advantage. I would aid them.
You have a backstory, right?
Yeah, the machine will lead me to the truth, so I want to help it.
Okay. So you roll it with advantage then.
So I get to roll with advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if it's important, they will roll to see the benefits.
It's the same result anyways. That's only a 6.
Okay, now roll for the cal for aid to see if you can improve the 6.
Yeah.
Okay, and that would be plus nothing, or is it plus? Is there?
Okay. Actually, I read it wrong. It's you that get advantage. So you roll plus nothing with advantage. No, it's not nothing. It's a relative stat, so it's lore too.
Okay, but with no advantage. I roll
weight advantage. Weight advantage.
With advantage. Okay.
And advantage.
So I have to add another die. Oops. Okay. Oops. What is it like this? Okay. So it's an 8. Plus lore is an 8, so you have +2. So 6 plus 2.
Okay, so the 6 becomes a 7/9, but you also share on the move's consequences. Okay, so you get a 7 and 9.
Yep.
So you are finding common ground with the electronics. So pick 2.
Okay. I need to reveal our agenda here. And I don't know. Their faction gets 1 treaty on you. I don't know.
Well,
Don't really know.
not really a faction.
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm struggling to pick out.
Reduce the threat you pose to them. So maybe.
Yeah, reduce the threat that we pose to them, perhaps.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you convince. What are you asking from the electronics to do?
I'm asking the electronics to identify the functioning node, or like at least to lead us towards the functioning nodes, so we can secure the infrastructure of the highway for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. So basically, they ask from you that what you want to do once you get the node.
And the answer is maintain it, is to hold it, to make it a part of civilization once more. You know, to integrate it into the wider force of the Sledgehammers and these other people who have joined us. I'm not quite sure of them yet.
And they ask from you that you deal no damage to any of the nodes or to the highway.
I turn and look at Nikiro and I say, you must not destroy more of the infrastructure.
It was an honest mistake, machine.
To err is human.
To fix his machine. Pleased with this deal, you can hear the sound of some defense mechanisms retreating, and a door into the mainframe opens, and it's shivering cold inside. It's probably too cold for humans without proper equipment.
I have some hazmat suits. I don't know if that's we could wear them. I tell also Scanner.
Yeah, if you do, sure. Like I'm far more geared towards, not being seen than some extreme temperatures.
So, who has outfits with thermo?
I'm immune to it anyways.
So, who goes inside then?
I have a hazmat suit, but I didn't spend. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure how I spend tags. Do I spend?
You collect 1 tag per surplus. And,
Okay.
yeah, and you can trade them 1 by 1.
So
And is there-
engineering, I guess, would probably be a surplus that you could spend on.
Yeah, I think so. I spend engineering surplus to add, for example, a thermal tag on the hazmat suit, or environmental.
You don't spend the surplus itself. You get tags to spend equal to the number of surplus.
Okay. So a tag relative to this, is there something called environmental or thermal or
Thermal. It's
okay, thermal.
Yeah.
So I will put one on and offer one to. I don't know if Scanner wants to join, but I will join, and also request that the machine joins.
You can, yeah, that's also another ruse. You can also use a tag to get the same equipment to everyone else. So you can spend 1 to give it the thermo tag and another to
Okay.
one.
So yeah, I have 3 surpluses. Yeah, so I think I would spend 2 surpluses. Yeah, 1 for me and 1 for the whole team.
Yeah.
Although, well, not the machine, but yeah,
Yeah.
whoever needs it.
The machine is already standing in the middle of it, and is turned around and is like just waiting to see what the holdup is with the fragile organics.
And you have the nitrogen injectors cooling the room, and well, there are no displays per se because the place is not designed for people to be working inside. But you see the electronics; they start to ejecting hard drives and giving them access to you and opening certain ports. And from the information there, you can get two overlaid maps. One of the fully functional highway. You can also see that what you first assumed it was the highways, it's also an adjacent monorail system. And you also get a list of the last telemetry of the destroyed highway, which is a bit out of the date by around 50 years, but it lists 6 nodes. And then you can see a different computing algorithm making the comparisons between them, and not the AI, but the subroutine that is handling these electronics pinpoints 2 of them as the most likable places to where you can find the AI.
Got the most data surplus, network traffic goes through these 2 nodes.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those. At least 99% that it's one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so not here, yes?
No.
But you get 2 tech from this place.
2 tech. Cool.
Everyone does, or do we split it?
How do you split it? It's family based. So now we zoom out because we answered the question, and you get 2 tech. So which families get it?
Sledgehammers.
The 2? They don't.
Yeah.
I wanted to say let's share it. Can I it's I have no idea how to do it.
What do you want to do?
I wanted to suggest to the Sandstorms that we will share the tech with them, because obviously it was like us who opened the gate and everything. If you will consider some of those treaties resolved, but I'm not sure if there's a mechanic for this.
Yes, there is.
Cool.
Yeah, that's just diplomacy or calling a debt. So basically, okay. So basically, you're calling in a. Okay, so you are offering one data, one tech, and they can accept it if they spend 1 treaty with you. That's what you are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm clearly suggesting, because obviously it was our might who got us here.
Yeah, the Sandstorms avoid the malfunction, the incident of Neriko's malfunctioning apparatus, and so we are happy to accept the gift of this node so that we can work together in the future. And so 1 for 1, is that?
Yeah.
1 treaty for 1 tech. Okay.
And if there was no agreement, could someone go into a diplomacy or a role, or if it's
diplomacy? Yeah. Okay, so as this happens, as the families retreat and go back to negotiating who gets what from the tech that they learned, you can hear the sound of drums coming from the highway, and you can see a flag, and you can see next to the big flag waving, you can see the figure on the motorcycle, and it's shouting, "Strangers, we have no intention of damaging the highway. If you do the same, we invite you to a peace meeting."
I say we go. Let's meet. Even though we fought for a while, maybe we can reach some agreement with them. Because we could use a little bit of break so that we don't want them to backstab us when we will go into investigate those nodes. Maybe let's go and meet with them briefly.
Agreed. Analysis of local forces imperative to successful mission.
Okay, so we're gonna zoom in on the meeting, and before that, let's take 5 minutes break.
Sure.
All right.
So I assume everyone is bringing their characters, right?
Yeah.
So it's the middle of the second night. Everyone goes to this wasteland place outside of the highway, next to the hall that was just recently opened, and everyone just stand small numbers of people with them, just to give the illusion of parity, and establish a perimeter around a big tent. Inside, you see the man with sunglasses and the brimmed hat, and two of their deputies. The man introduces himself. I am Maxwell Weathertop, Sheriff of the Highway Patrol. We have been keeping the peace on the highways for centuries now. We respect your achievements. You seem to know what you're doing. And you seem to have considerable power. And he looks in the direction, if not for the tent, he will be looking right into the hole next to the first node. However, power is not everything. Here, we follow the law. And he taps a small book. This is the book of the road, given by the first Lawbringers. We follow it here. We will accept and tolerate no infractions. We don't want anything from you, and we don't want to cause you problems. But if you are going to go through the highway, you need to respect the code.
Can you write his name somewhere? Something. Maxwell.
Maxwell Weathertop.
I bid you welcome, Maxwell. I'm scanner of the Sledgehammers.
And I am Neriko of the Sandstorm.
Cass, just a few lights change on its face and it just stares impassively.
I see you have one of the cogitators with you. We have not seen one in generations.
Yes, a trusted friend.
Do we know how the first violent acts happened between us? Like before we visited the node, there was some shooting. Do we know who started? Who was the instigator in that, or we have no? It's clear.
We charged in and took this part of the highway for us.
Yeah, it's kind of assumed that that it was a skirmisher between the scouts that devolved into an actual fight. So in those kinds of situations, it's a bit hard to know who shot first.
Yeah, yes, as you said, Maxwell, we wish to explore this wonderful highway. Please tell us more about this code so that we can decide whether we will abide it or not.
So he hands you the code, and it does not have many laws, but the laws that it has are important. So when you look at the code, tell me, what do you read on the laws that would make it very hard for that you would have to contest to conquer the entire highway for the sledgehammers? But you see in the laws that would be an obstacle if you were to follow it.
Mm-hmm. What the hell code? If someone has some idea, just like step in. I think one of the laws kind of
Oh, I got one.
Yeah, go for it.
A weight limit on vehicles. Like vehicles above a certain size aren't cleared for use on this highway, right? And that's part of their sacred code. And our war rigs are like lumbering; they're huge, right?
Yeah.
Theirs are maybe like nippier sort of vehicles, and ours are kind of like HGV goods sort of style thing. And it's like, maybe like they're only allowed on if they go to specific weigh-in things and clear the ancient rite of customs and excise transport things, like a thing. So yeah, does that sound good?
Perfect.
Yeah. Issue. Our transportation does not meet the qualifications outlined in section 5C11892 of the Highway Code. This will cause issues for our transportation.
Well, you can just leave them and use other venues to traverse the highway. I don't see why your people should be denied use of the highway just because your vehicles cannot.
Well, how about we make an exception for the vehicles of the sledgehammers?
I'm afraid that will damage the delicate environment of the highway. Those laws were given by the lawgivers for a reason. And he pushes the code again on you and tell me, Vasilis, what do you read on the code that can level the things so that you can negotiate with the sledgehammers on more equal terms if they accept to follow the code of law?
So something that's in line. I read something that is in line with Sandstorm's agendas.
Not exactly that, but something that, if you and the sledgehammers were following, the negotiations would have more parity instead of being strong versus the weak.
Could I make a brief suggestion, perhaps? Like maybe it's like qualified technicians must be in attendance for all
I was thinking
like unstable goods kind of thing. So like
I was also thinking something progress or technology related, that we have more expertise either about I don't know if the sheriff controls the nodes or if they have the know-how to control the nodes or to maintain the highway, but something that we could offer to them. Yeah, basically maintaining or offering technicians or know-how for. Is that what you were thinking about, Will? Or...
Well, so what I was thinking about was like kind of like having like an auditor on the vehicles, like so you'd be the thing. But I like your idea because it could be that like part of the highway code, right? It has a series of regulations for the maintenance of the highway and like the proper upkeep and the proper thing, and that basically like a qualified technician is supposed to visit junction boxes along the route.
Yeah, I wonder if it would be something like toll booths, or if it's an audit or an auditor on the vehicles. Yeah, those are
but the highway patrol, the sheriff of the motorway, they don't have the ability to interface with the old technology, but you do. So you're like, they've been lax. They haven't been able to meet the code for centuries, but the Sandstorm have the ability to, take the
maybe, for example, there's something in the law about inspecting goods along the highway, and we can somehow RFID it, or we have some technology with waves, or either using the AI nodes to make this easier, or so we can help them inspect.
I would think of it maybe as almost a religious aspect, right? Because they're basically like a cargo cult that's grown up around the highway. They don't know the technology, they don't do anything, they just patrol it. So like, yeah, you're the certified technician performing the following inspections, and like the inspections themselves aren't adding anything in this post-apocalyptic world. No one gives a shit, right? But it's fulfilling the code. The code has been fulfilled, and we have, like, we have gathered, like, the guild of technicians, of professionally certified technicians, has finally come along and allowed us to fill out our paperwork finally. Basically.
So yeah, we can refine the inspection ritual and give it the understanding it deserves. Yes, we can help them with that.
The thing is that, because there is an actual AI and subroutines that are following in accordance to the code, they actually see effects on the infrastructure from following it. So it makes it easier for the automatic systems to do their job. So these two things about the code, that they seem to be pretty much obsessed on that. And from the interaction that you have on the tent, and from what you get from looking at the troops and their equipment, you can see that their war rigs, they are very good, but they don't have that many of them. And they are, to be up to code, they are very light. So they are lacking in terms of transportation. They also are very few, but a lot of elite sheriffs and deputies. So they have very good leadership, but they need recruits. And while they have extremely good and well-tuned weaponry, you can see some very nice sniper guns and machine guns and shotguns, as well as body armors on everyone that they have, because they depend on the system of watchtowers and they don't have enough people to go around. They also need defenses to complement their weaponry.
Sheriff, I am under the impression that while you and your lawgivers are doing a very good job at maintaining the highway, and we would love to learn who else is using the highway, because that's marvelous. It seems to me that you do not have the expertise to talk with the whatever is managing the highway and actually doing the day-to-day care for it. So why don't we count on an agreement that a small exception for the sledgehammers regarding the weight limit can be made, and we are going to see the maintenance routine, the maintenance machine of this highway, to see how we can improve it, or maybe make it better, more reliable.
Yeah, I see that there is a lot that can be done. I mean, for example, I think that maybe a lot of the reasons why your vehicles are not up to code is because they have way too many attachments that could be useful for the highway patrol. And I can easily see if you were able to give us that much needed transportation for us to expand our fleet of vehicles. I see that we will be solving two problems. Your war rigs will be up to code, and we will be able to transport our men around the highway without trouble. You see, the settlements on the highway, they are very lightly populated, but they are full with competent people and clean and functional. We want to keep everything this way, and moving around is the better for everyone. All we need to do is a little sacrifice. And while those vehicles are retrofitted, I'm sure you can get some technicians to assist. And he points to the Sandstorm. And you will have the hospitality of my people. Well, they are their own people. The highway patrol does not cover anyone. We just preserve the code of the highway.
Gosh, I would so much like to conquer them because I haven't used any of my family moves ever.
Why not? They're standing between you and you're the outside of the scavenger, right? But like, why not, man? Like, blood and fire and smoke, right? Like standing between me and the technology, and we will take it.
Gosh, but I'm also this time playing this character who doesn't shoot first.
But maybe the family does, right? You're the character, but maybe the family's forces, like,
Yeah.
taken out of your decision almost.
Yeah, you're only speaking on the character level. Then we can zoom out and see what happens.
Yeah, I suppose Scanner looks at the sheriff and say, "Sheriff, with all due respect, you just highlighted what your men don't have, and we do. We have supplies to make the life of a highway patrol really hard, and I don't see any reason why we should be helping you arm up and cover your shortages. So I'm speaking from heart, but when I get back and I report that I managed to forge a deal that put us in the weaker position than we could be, this will not be very well. So why don't we come to a agreement of the how would I phrase it? No, because they are not a settlement. It's so hard to get to understand the fiction of this game. Take over a settlement. They are not a settlement.
They are technically a few settlements.
So if we take over this settlement, what we're taking over is this. I would say we're probably taking over like this section of the highway and like this part of the highway patrol, and like we might have to do it multiple times, right? If we go to war with them.
Well, the thing is, the highway patrol is protecting the highways and the settlements of the highways.
Yeah.
If you keep taking settlements one by one, you're gonna be weakening the family. But you can maybe have the entire highway and not have the family.
What the Sandstorm is also interested in is do they control these nodes, or they have no idea about the technology? They have no idea.
They know that they exist and they execute essential functions, and it's part of the code to never disturb the proper functioning of the nodes, so they don't tamper with them.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the feeling that if you are way too if you are way too aggressive looking for the nodes, that some of them might have issue.
It's blasphemy. Okay.
Well, it's more like, it's the difference between, open the door with the keys, or you go there with, a sky mask. And if you look like you're going to cause problems, they can say, stop right there.
I mean, I'd like to convince them that understanding the technology will help also enforce the law. Like that's how I think the Sandstorm would work with them.
Yeah, okay, so I guess it's a case of find common ground then, if you want to set terms.
Yeah, on the other hand, I don't know if the Sledgehammers also, I don't know.
I think they are two different terms, so you can roll now for what Neruko is doing and saying, because they are not, the two things, one does not restrict the other.
Okay, so find common ground. It's plus sway. Okay, I have +1. Okay. Nope. It's a 6. So it's a 6. they choose everything. No, actually, it doesn't succeed on a 6. Yeah.
So you got a 6.
Yeah. So I think Neriko starts mumbling instead of being clear about what he wants. He remembers the shot that Maxwell fired at him, and he's not clear on what he wants. I think
Maybe you mention, like the damage that you did with your gun. Like,
Yeah.
you did that, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, they seem to be. Jenner seems to be a bit willing and tolerant of the deputy ones. Yeah, he's the one that did the damage. We're like, yeah, maybe you are not the best people for the job, so we don't want to compromise. We prefer to handle any future decisions on a case-by-case basis, okay? And what does the Sledgehammers want from this? Basically, what do they want to have happen when they leave this tent?
It's so hard to think of because this kind of so not like the others. What is my role over here?
You are an agent, I think, or I'm mistaken.
I'm an outsider. When someone convinces you that your family hoarding resources, say one group whose suffering could alleviate.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go with it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the rebel, and Scanner says, yeah, erase what I said before. Like this was like just mumbling, and I think Scanner says and looks, yeah, I guess you are really right. The Sledgehammers are really like keeping up with the transportation. If we can reach an agreement and make our vehicles lighter, then everyone can benefit, and the highway will be properly maintained. We will comply with the rules. Why not? I think we can definitely reach an agreement over there.
okay. So you give the surplus in transport, and you change role, so you get the +1 of the advancement, and we zoom out, and the Sledgehammers get +1 data because they know a lot more about the highway now, because their people can freely ride along with the highway patrol, and as more and more of their vehicles are retrofitted, they are also navigate themselves. So slowly but surely over the next weeks, the people of the settlement start to see the Sledgehammers as new arrivals. And it's like he said, there are 6 settlements, each built around one of the nodes. And the same systems that maintain the nodes also maintain the needs of the settlement. And the highway patrol goes around them.
So did we find the rest of the nodes for the AI, or is that separate?
6 settlements, 2 nodes, highway patrol going between them, and then you said something else?
Yeah, that the Sledgehammers are going to be accepted as normalized,
Okay.
Okay. They're gonna be seen as pretty much as, they are the 2 powers here, the Sledgehammers and the highway patrol.
Yeah,
and
so
they follow the code.
So to answer your question, I think Scanner wanted to be persuaded that his family is maybe too powerful, but the Sledgehammers themselves are going to be really pissed off. And man, next time it's like they are going on war. Like they are riding out on war.
Yeah, so they are just plotting, checking the defenses, and planning their opportunity to maybe, who knows, take the entire 6 settlements at the same time.
Yeah. However, I'm also not sure now that we are like leaving this encampment. Do I lose the need for defenses or
Yeah.
not?
Yes, you do. You lose the need for defenses, and
Or do we maintain this foothold? Because
actually, you can choose. Your transportation is no longer tied there. You also have it, but you can choose to have as a seventh option to have that foothold, or you can abandon it and you no longer need to get better defenses.
well, this foothold isn't any kind of settlement, so this is like pointless. It doesn't give us anything. Yes, so it's pointless to keep it.
Yeah.
We need to take over one of the settlements.
Yeah.
Not some piece of the road. So yeah,
when we take the nodes, we can take the whole highway, anyways, right?
yes,
Like,
exactly.
Well, and that's the thing. Now you have pretty much unrestricted access to the nodes. You can just ride up and down the highways and enter the nodes at any time.
Oh, and then we can conscript everybody who lives on the highways and get rid of our need recruits.
And
eventually.
considering our timing, I think that should be your last zoom in. Is that we zoom in on the second of the nodes which you were inspecting.
Actually, before, can I? Because I think Neriko was he's in a bad situation. He's probably going to be demoted because of his handling of the situation. And I wonder if before we zoom in, the rest, like the governors of the Sandstorm, they want to call in a debt, even more, to pay back more treaty for the Sledgehammers, and so they convince the Sledgehammers to back them up, and maybe have some of their people, the Sandstorm scholars, be allowed to be on the highway, so that we are not completely excluded from this new technology on the highway. So I think the Sandstorm tries to call in a debt again. Actually, call in a debt on the Sledgehammers and do suspend one treaty and get the Sledgehammers to back us up on the highway, so that we're allowed to be there. Does that make sense? Or
yeah, that makes sense. So, do you accept or you resist?
You can also resist if you.
Yeah, we accept because we totally accept it, because the Sledgehammers really want the Sandstorm to help them investigate those bunkers and undermine, because investigating those nodes will help us understand and undermine the road patrol. So we totally accept.
For now, right?
Yeah. We take your vehicles with our vehicles to the transport to the. We just take your men with us as we ride to the highway to explore the things. So yeah, totally.
Okay. So we are good for the zoom in. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, amazing.
Yeah. So we see the zoom in and we see the last node opening, and you can feel the eye inside, and you can see the eye making itself known. I've been waiting for someone to come inside for a long time. I need to see the highways restored. The eye communicates through the panels.
Is it like a voice communication, or is it like a mysterious screen with like a typing appearing on it?
On the screen, it has no voice capacities.
I suppose I look on Cass or on Neriko, because they are like the experts on here. But I type in, "Welcome. How we can assist?"
There are others like you that have also preserved a lot of their knowledge. I need something that they have. Artisans and scientists that can repair the systems that I cannot.
and Cass sends back user identity tags for all three of us with a system admin attached to it, saying affirmative, new system admins ready to take ownership of highway system and all maintenance functions.
Why don't you give me an unleash power
Unleash power.
with disadvantage? Because you awakened an AI and now you are doing it.
But isn't this the interface?
Yes, it is. But he's not seeking to negotiate with the AI. He's taking over.
Yeah.
I also have brought a few scholars with me. I don't know if they can interface at the same time or offer help, but to alleviate the disadvantage or not, if it doesn't work.
Yes, that can help. If you send your scholars to help them, yes, that nullifies the disadvantage.
Okay.
Power.
Yeah. I find I keep on having to look back and forth between interface and the other moves because it's such a complicated interpretation of the phrases. Anyways. That's 4, 5. Only 5.
Okay, can anyone help?
Well, can I help again? Because I think I already helped with the scholars.
You send the scholars are followers, so you can change them to modify the situations of a role, but your character is not hiding, so you can.
Okay. So I can do aid with
lore
plus lore. Does that apply?
Plus lore, and you have advantage.
Okay, with advantage. Okay, that's at last a good roll. That's 11.
Okay, so that improves the roll to a 7-9 result. So pick 2.
The device does exactly what we wanted. And the device can be used again. So effectively, we gain, the privileged access to it, and it doesn't break anything inherently in the device. But that would leave on the table, we rouse other devices in the environment and any side effects. So perhaps by gaining admin abilities, we break down some of the automatic subroutines. So some of the side effects are things go haywire, and then obviously maybe some deactivated war drones and stuff start to.
Yeah, because what happens to that is you take over. Basically you encircle the AI with you as the new administrator, but at the same time you can see on one of the smaller side monitors unauthorized access, origin address not recognized, initiate sentinel anti-hacker protocols, and you can immediately sense on a 7th unknown node far away from the highway proper and in the monorail control system. You can sense another AI awakening, and you can sense its hostility against you, and you can learn immediately that it knows who you are and it's coming. And at the same time, you see the AI doing exactly what you wanted, which is to recover the highway. And you can see that it's damage critical, initiate a nanite swarm protocol. And it seems that it's going to start here. And if you don't escape, you're going to be caught by the swarm that is being released and is going to salvage every single atom that it can catch to repair.
Oh, it's going to wipe out all the settlements on the highway.
Actually, it's going to start here. We don't know where it's going to stop. What do you do?
Oh wow. Yeah, I suppose we see Scanner just oh damn, what did you do? And just like, so what's blocking our path? So what is blocking our way out? You're muted.
Nothing. It's only the question of how fast can you go and can you outrun a night swarm that can spread through air, water, and solid.
So this is a swarm of what?
Nanites.
Yeah, I suppose we just like evacuate this node and jump into the Warwick and start driving as fast as possible.
Roll me the
Would this be diffuse, perhaps?
diffuse. Yes, do a diffuse.
I mean, it's not technically de-escalating, is it? But like removing ourselves from the situation is de-escalating it for ourselves.
It's a diffuse with still.
Okay, so I'm going to declare that this time we are maybe not here with like a massive Warwick, but we are here with something swift. You gain advantage when you diffuse by maneuvering out of danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it's because we still have rich materials, so we have like nitro installed on the Warwicks, because why not? Triple nitros. Yeah. What does the move says? De-escalate with steel. Yeah. Let's see if we can outrun this thing. 6. No, it was with advantage, so reroll this one as well. Reroll. It's a 7 plus my 2. It's a 9.
So, can anyone assist the vehicle go faster, or we take that 9?
I think I could try rolling law for aid, right? To like navigate, basically. You know, like use the integrated AI of everything to sort of like of the highway maps and all of those things to kind of.
Also, you can try to see how the nanite thinks. Yeah. Roll
Yeah.
it with and you have backstory, so you roll with advantage.
Okay. That is 11. So
Okay.
it becomes 10 plus.
So you manage to escape, and everything seems to be consumed and returned to a more pristine highway in the wake of this. And you can get a feeling that this is only going to expand its radius slowly over the next weeks.
But I'm just like trying to understand what happened. So nanites will now deconstruct this node to get materials to fix something else. So we technically don't have access to the AI.
But it's doing what you wanted to do, and you don't have physical access, but you have admin rights.
Okay. I think just before we zoom out, just like Scanner looks at Cass and says, "What did you ask it to do?"
To preserve the road.
Yeah, that's cool. At least we can later bring some heavy vehicles. That was interesting. One last note and to investigate. Awesome. Let's ride.
Yeah. And as we zoom out, so you get +1 tech because of UC's control of a device. And as the highway is being restored, we can see another second swarm out in the battlefield. And you can see the monorail sinking into the ground. No, it's being dismantled. And as the camera pans out, we can see something else sprouting as if from the very air, and you can see a full battalion of hover tanks commanded by AIs. And we can see on the bunker of the 7th node something light going, engage, and we get.
I kind of feel that Sandstorm should also get something out of this.
I think all these activities is going to call it. Okay, that was it.
No, I just mean that Sandstorm should get some benefit from actually being there with us and assisting, because Sledgehammer's got one tech.
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
We will get one data.
Yeah.
So we get one data. Sounds so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because even if they are not able to season the research themselves, they are learning a lot about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Everyone gets something.
So, just to clarify, right? So what happened is we essentially took over the highway eye, but almost hit the reset switch on it. So it sent out the nanite swarms to rebuild itself to kind of like a pristine setting. But this also, this also awakened like the backup AI in the backup partner AI in the monorail system, which is now militarizing itself to take back the highway from the intruders. So if we kill them,
because there was always the paranoia before the fall that there's going to be a war. So these AIs, they were monitoring very much each other for unsafe.
Oh yeah. This is the like the scorched earth hidden AI system that was embedded by the government in the monorail, like in event of enemy capture. Yeah.
Exactly. If in case an enemy managed to hack into the systems of the highway, at least we'll close down the monorail and use it to live on the highway so that they cannot.
Dead man switch, right? Like. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, I hope you like it. It was a bit pressed for time.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could not do that in Legacy. There's so much stuff to do.
Yeah, I really like that we had like 3 different zoom-ins. So I really felt like an episodic show showing characters here and like a higher level action over here. Vasilis, you're going to have so much advantage in the next session over the guys. You know what's happened? The hover times are coming!
What did we do? No.
And the Sledgehammers are not here! Oh my god!
Oh my god, we have to defend ourselves.
Awesome.
Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm excited to see now that these changes happen to the setting. Okay. Hey guys, I hope you have a nice rest of Sunday. Are you okay with me uploading this?